for it, and they pay not us, they pay the DO. And that's how they get money back. So that's the business model about, if we get money from DO, and when the slocks you're producing are used, the DO gets money back. So, and we as a company, of course, are free to do also other things. Like we have some consulting, we have some other electric companies we are doing work for. So that's like the DO will be one of our clients. And the relationship between the DO and us, the service provider, is like a contract or a client. And we actually have a contract on the blockchain about every detail. And we will go to this later. So now I want to explain, sorry the slides I just made them quickly before I came here, they're not looking that nice, but I get the message across. So what the DO does, or what the DO is. So the DO I will present is a DO to manage a trust or a fund. So it's nothing more, nothing super spacey, futuristic about self-automating everything. It's just a fund of money which is controlled by the people who put money into it. And the first attack which is possible, which you can think of right now, is what if some guy owning 51% of this fund makes a proposal to send all the money to him. And because he has so much voting power, if they get accepted, he will get 100% of the money. So this is the most dangerous attack for such a fund. The solution of this, so there are, maybe before I come to our solution, we have discussed it with many people, there are many different solutions out there, but none of them I found was really safe. There was some people about giving the minority more rights than the majority, but then still you could make an 81% attack, that's the same. And then there was something like we have a panel of guardians, a couple of guys who can decide over all transactions, but then it becomes very centralized again, and actually they own the fund more or less. So also not nice, even if you trust them. So what we have thought of, which originates from a blog post by Vitalik Buterin, the idea of split the DO in case of there's an attack. And sometimes it's hard to say what is an attack or what not, but basically everyone in there can say, I don't like this proposal, I take my money out and go into my own DO. Whoever wants to follow me can come. And then we have a new DO. So this, of course, is the downside of it is, yes, actually people are only pledging money to the DO, not really giving it, because they can take it out again or split into their own DO. That's the downside of it. But at least this is a 100% secure way of preventing all those kinds of attacks. Because then the attacker is left with their own money and can only spend his money, which is of course okay, because it's his own money, he can do with it whatever he wants. So, but there was still one thing is still a problem. Let's say we have 100 people giving money into it, and one guy having 51%. And even though they can split, they may not notice the attack. They just don't look at it each day at the proposals, and they're just being apathetic voters or just lazy voters, and so they can get rob their money. And for this reason, we needed still something which could be compared to panel of guardians, but since they can split, it's okay, having one service provider per DO. Meaning, yes, this DO, the first one, can only send money to us. This means, of course, this sounds like a lot of power, like you can do everything again, but we are protecting them from this guy, the lazy voters. This was a very important criterion, which people said was a real problem, that people could lose money by doing nothing. And the only way to prevent this is to have one service provider per DO. But then, of course, if people are not happy with us, they can just change to a new service provider by making a new DO, by splitting. This split means actually split DO. So basically become a new DO with a new service provider. So therefore, we are highly incentivized to make our DO happy, so they don't split and go away from us. And we also have a whitelist in there saying, if the DO wants to spend money on other projects than us, we can set them on a whitelist so they can give them money. So then we think it's not a scam, if we think it's not something which will just, they run away with the money, then we will set it on the whitelist. If people say, we did not set it there, but we wanted to, then they can split and make their own DO. So therefore, I think in the future we will see something like we have one like mother DO, and then have some other DOs, each having their own projects and their own service provider. They can actually interact with each other and work together. But as long as everyone is happy with one service provider, they stay within one DO. This is the concept. And now I want to go not into code, but at least give you more about what kind of functions the token holder can do, what possibilities he has. So actually the contract can be looked up here at GitHub. the complete smart contract, the source code of this DAO. And this consists actually of 3 contracts. The first one is a very classical Ethereum contract. It's a token contract. It's used for many other things, but we use it too. So on Ethereum, you can make a contract which represents a token, like another virtual currency. There you have functions like transfer. So an owner of the token can transfer his token to another owner. They can be traded on an exchange. And it even has something more. It has something like approve. You can actually write a check to allow someone to spend your tokens if you want to. So there are more. This is the basic foundation of this DAO contract. It is a token. People get money, get a token, they can trade on an exchange.
So approve allows people to vote even if they want to trade their tokens on an exchange.
And they could say, if I want to trade my tokens on exchange, if I don't want to give them the permission to vote in my name, then I just use the approve function, which just approves them to take my tokens to trade, but doesn't approve voting. That's one reason we have this.
But so what happens if the token changes hands?
Yeah, then of course the other guy has the voting power.
Of course, by what means?
What do you mean by what means? So
As
the owner of the token can vote.
Will he have to approve himself, and we just think that while the tokens are on the exchange will not approve anyone else but you? Is that
We would never take that.
No exchange would ever do that.
okay, no, I was just making sure I understand.
Yeah. The point is, of course, the best thing is you have the private keys of your tokens. But reality is, a lot of people have their tokens on the exchange. And so we have this possibility to just approve them to trade your tokens without voting. But the best thing is to just keep your tokens and not use it. Yeah?
Does the token, specific tokens that you are using, do you implement the standard token protocol
Yes.
as A? B, are you going to add this approve function to a standard token protocol?
It is already part of it.
Yep.
So that we're using a standard token, meaning all the tokens based on Ethereum will most likely use this. So it's already in the user interfaces built for Ethereum, like Mist, already very nice. You can see this, and you can trade and send them there. So it's already built in user interface. We don't need to build it anymore.
So aren't you creating a second class token then, like with the approve function? Because as an exchange, like you're going to expect when you buy a token that you get the voting powers with it. So how does that economy even work? Like, does it even
We
make
will
sense?
see how it works out. Like some exchanges that complain, say no, we will not use this. We will only own the tokens if we have the private keys to them. Then we can't do anything about it. I mean, you can transfer your token to an exchange if you want to. You're free to do this. We just have the ability. Like approve, it's like writing a check. So you have this check. They can use it to transfer the tokens. But if you want just send a buy order, for example, maybe it just doesn't go through, so you don't have to use it. It's a nice option, but it's not a must. Let's say it like this. I think many exchanges will most likely not use it. Like we have talked to them, but the ability is there.
I've ended up using it in an exchange I've written, just because.
You use an exchange? Then I would highly recommend it.
Well, the reason why is that because if let's say you are selling your tokens and you put an ask order in, you're not actually giving tokens away. You're just waiting for a matching bid. And when the matching bid comes, the exchange itself needs a way to say, hey, we need to move those tokens on your behalf. So if you approve that.
But an exchange would never take a sell order without.
It's not the exchange. The exchange itself is just a contract, and all it's saying is that you give permission to the exchange.
You're speaking an exchange as a concept. I'm speaking it from an operating exchange like a Poloniex or a Kraken, right?
Sure.
There's contracts on the blockchain. I totally get it, right? It's the counterparty idea.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to move it to a free market and to move quickly on it, there's no way that they would accept that.
Well, I think we're talking about two different things.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that when we're talking about like tokens on Ethereum and like another X exchange that needs to say from an asker who wants to sell their tokens to somebody else, you need to give permission to that exchange so that it can move those on your behalf. That's
Because they can do exactly the same thing. They can move your tokens. And when they moved it, you don't own them anymore. So actually, for an exchange, it's not a really big difference.
It's a huge difference.
I mean, if you call transfer,
I don't understand. Why is it? It's kind of like shapeshift. You just
It's not because
finding
here's why.
matching bids.
You can put a sell order today, right? And it's on there, and your tokens are there, and you've approved me. You can move those tokens out and your sell order hits. What happens to the tokens?
You removed actually your sell order by doing so.
No,
Because
Yeah.
the
the-
exchange is not going to
The
know that.
exchange, they have one more thing, they can always check how much allowance.
Yeah. That's just something to check.
So, if I may, your concept works for a distributed on the blockchain exchange.
Correct.
Yes,
If your exchange is on the blockchain in the form of a smart contract, this makes perfect sense.
yes.
For the existing exchanges that we have right now, no exchange.
So
would touch
disclosure,
that.
guys, we run Bitrix. You guys ever heard of us? And I've been working
Okay,
with
no, no.
Now you know why I'm all like, no!
We won't do
So
that.
like us, Polo, you know, like the exchanges out there, they're not decentralized. This would never work because the fact that the second you place a sell order, I can't keep checking every millisecond that you're still there.
I mean, you're not doing it manually. You write code that does that.
My
code can't do that.
I have 150,000 users, and with like 50,000 orders apiece.
But I see this point. Like,
Right,
For,
so-
you, for a proof, you would always check if they are still there.
Right.
That's the point.
Potentially, you could do batches, right? Maybe you only allow trades every 10
You're
seconds.
at that point,
you
you're a
can't distribute.
at that point you're a distributed exchange because it would take like 50, 100 seconds to make a single transaction as opposed to 2 milliseconds. So if you're a distributed exchange, it makes perfect sense.
It's 30 transactions per second, actually.
So further question here?
So like a token is a basic building block that you create, but what stops a clever, nefarious actor from making a shady asshole token that lets them spend it after they give it to you or other evil things that they're allowed
No.
to do?
Yeah, I
Can't
would
do
not
that.
take I always know which token you get because there's one address for a smart contract. Only this address represents this token. So any other token is just something completely different. Like there are tons of tokens out there, and some of them just for testing. Right? I mean, token is not even a token. Every token means something different. So
I have a question. Is it capped? The Slockit tokens?
does it mean no? They will be capped after the funding period.
That's what I'm saying. So after the funding period is
They're
over,
capped. Like
they're
if
capped.
you just as many ether gets in will be transferred to token.
Well, that's what we
If there's
thought.
no limit, and then when it's over, it's over. Then you have a.
So that's when you finalize a smart contract. The smart contract will contain the limit of tokens.
Okay, so it's not like Ethereum where you like.
Can't mine tokens.
It's the Ethereum
Yeah.
crowd sale was similar.
But then they kept going. I mean, right now you can.
Right,
There's
because
still.
of the mining right now.
That's what I'm saying.
But for the crowd sale it was the same model,
Hmm.
but then it's changed because of the mining stuff. We have no mining of tokens here.
Okay.
Okay, so then there's another contract, it's a token sale. There are just some basic functions. There's something called buy token proxy, so you can buy tokens, but also for someone else. Like you can have another address, which is important exactly for exchanges. That's because they can use this to buy tokens in behalf of someone else. There's the function refund. We have a minimal funding goal. If this is not reached, then anyone can call this function to get his money back. And the price increase, which all the token traders wanted to have, is also in there. So that the price will go a bit higher because people have more risk at the end of the sale than the beginning of the sale. This is handled in the token sale contract. The last contract is the actual DO contract, and there the most important functions is that any token holder can make a proposal for spending money to something. Then anyone can vote with their tokens on proposals. Then anyone can call the execute proposal function where we'll just check has been voted for, is the debating period over, everything good? If yes, execute it. If not, don't execute it. Then you have the split DO function. So after having made a proposal, voted on it, then you can split the DO. So this is not like a one button, take my money out. It's really a process. There's the get my reward function that calculates your part of the rewards generated by the DO and gets that to you. And there's this whitelist implemented of a list of addresses which are allowed to receive money from the DO. This is basically in short what this contract does. Okay, and now we are open to, well, okay, that's the first question and last slide.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Whitelist, who gets there when who votes addresses in is it on the creation?
So we are the ones who can set addresses there, and those addresses will we meaning the service provider, Slockit in the first DO, and the whitelist means usually those addresses will be other smart contracts. Like a smart contract from other service provider doing some services and interacting with him through this smart contract. And I'll show you the last slide also how this works.
Sorry to interrupt. initial service provider is always free to modify this list.
Yes.
Awesome.
So, and it needs to be, otherwise the 51% attacker can set him on the list and then all the money to him. So this needs to be done for security reasons.
Do you have a limit on how many open proposals you can have at any one given time?
No.
Do you think that that might be
For
worth?
spam, and we have a spam protection, which is a proposal deposit. The number, how high this deposit is decided by DO. They can also make a proposal to change the deposit. And so this, in the user interface, you will sort the proposals after proposal deposit, because anyone can pay a deposit as high as he wants to, but at least currently something like 20 Ether. And so if people think their proposal is very important, they will pay more as a deposit. They will get the deposit back only in the case a minimal quorum has been met, currently about 20%. If those people have not voted on it, they don't get that deposit back, it stays in the DO. So people don't spam it. So only do proposals which are important enough that they get voted on.
What do you think, as opposed to maybe doing something like a 5 proposal limit at any one given time, do you think that
Very dangerous, because someone could block everything.
Yeah.
Someone will always make 5 proposals and never block any other thing. The problem is, when I was developing those contracts, the most critical thing is DOS attacks, denial of service attacks.
Yeah.
Meaning someone can do something to block something else.
Yeah.
And that's why almost nothing in here is allowed to block anything else. Because then you could do blocks, like that you cannot transfer tokens during voting period, for example. You can only, if you voted for a proposal.
Do proposals ever time out then? Do they ever expire?
Yes.
Okay.
So what's happening, and what proposal works like this, there's a minimal debating period of 2 weeks,
Okay.
but the one who is creating the proposal can set this debating period also higher. In this time, people can vote. When you have voted, then you're not allowed to move your tokens. They are frozen because they could move them to another address and vote again. So they stay frozen until the voting is, the end deadline has been reached. And then anyone can call this execute proposal function to tally the votes and then see if it gets executed or not.
Okay. That's pretty good.
So, a little bit of a selfish ask, but is there a way to mark addresses as non-voting?
It's not what?
As non-voting?
Yes.
You say you have a method of saying a token has already been voted on for a particular proposal, so they can't move the tokens around the token.
Yes, so when you have voted, then your tokens get frozen. You cannot move them anymore.
So isn't there a problem if exchanges get a bunch of tokens that they can vote? It would be nice if the exchanges could create a non-voting address that you can move it into, and then that address is never
So
allowed to
if
vote
you
on.
own them, then you just don't vote, and then you're never frozen.
I think I'm saying, can you put it into the protocol so that by saying I'm an exchange, I'm publishing an address for you to send your tokens to so that you can exchange them, by the very fact that the trailing address has like a 0 at the or a 1 at the beginning or something like that, that marks it as a non-voting address, so you don't have to worry about.
Could be done, yeah. It is not done currently.
Yeah, but that way that if the exchange keeps the tokens in that address, they can never vote on a proposal that solves an entire
It's
attack.
actually a good idea.
That's great.
Because it's just something we think about, because like we don't stake our coins, but you can look at our addresses and see that, hey, they're not staking. There's a proverbial block that prevents us from staking because people are watching our addresses. Likewise, we don't even want to get into that conversation to say, hey, we're publishing an address. This is a non-voting address because you can identify
But
it.
on the other hand, they will see publicly what you're doing, because if they know your address, which they might
Fair enough.
find out.
But most of the hot wallets for exchanges are already like known, right? A lot of people find them.
Sounds.
Then most people think they know what they are, but it's not.
Yeah. I see your
Accurate.
point. It's a good point. May consider it. Yeah?
I have a few questions. My first one, in a situation where a DAO split, can I expect, like, suppose I wanted a DAO to split and got everybody to agree with me, or a bunch of people to agree with me, would I expect to get all of my money back, or a prorated amount based on what's been
So
spent?
it's 100% fair and works like this. You get like only the portion of the remaining money.
Okay.
Like let's say you have 20% of the DO, then you get 20% of the remaining money,
Okay.
all you can get.
Yeah.
But you also get 20% of something that is completely internally. There's internally something called a reward token, which is created when they execute a proposal and send money to something.
Yeah.
And then this is used for counting who owns how much rewards, and you get also a share of the reward tokens. So you get, let's say for example, just easy numbers, 1 million is in the funding period, and 500,000 is spent to us for building a product, and you basically paid 50% of your money to it. Let's say you paid 100,000. You won't get your money out. You can only get 50,000 out, but you still get 20% of the rewards.
Okay.
for the project already funded. Not for the future projects which they fund because they don't use your money for it, but for the projects funded with your money, you will get your rewards.
Interesting.
So you will not lose anything actually.
And is that reward in tokens or in ETH?
It's always in Ether.
In Ether, okay.
I have a few more questions. My first one is, does a proposal look like something that's strictly code-based, or can it ever be something more qualitative, like a bylaw?
It could be almost anything, but in the end it needs to be an address that you send money to. Because all this DO can do is send money to something.
Move money, right? Okay.
That's all they can do. But also, what they actually can do more, because there are smart contracts, they can call functions in a smart contract.
Yeah.
And that's why, like I will show you, actually it's the last slide, and maybe go to the last slide because it answers some question, then we can completely open up and you can ask me anything.
Okay.
So just to define the relationship between Slockit and the DO, we had a smart contract, which they wrote on. And in this smart contract, it's not like give us all your money and you're done. It will give us an initial funding and then a monthly payment, like a burning rate. And the DO actually could vote to set this to 0, meaning firing us, not happy with you. Or they could say, we see you need more money because you have more developers, we actually raise it. So the DO can call those functions in a smart contract to pay us more or less. And we just have some Boolean variable in there saying promise is true or not, meaning as long as you give us at least this amount of money which we have defined here, the promise of this 1% rule is true. If you fire us, it becomes not true, and we are not bound to anything. Because of course, if you don't give us money, we are not bound to do anything for you. So the relationship between DO and Slockit, first, Slockit owns nothing of the DO. No tokens, no money, absolutely nothing. So actually what we're doing here is very nice of us. We're creating this DO without getting anything out of it in the first place. The only thing we get is being the default service provider. That's the only thing which is good for us. So there are two separate entities, having actually in the beginning almost nothing to do with each other. So the relationship is that of a contractor and client, and the relationship is defined by a smart contract per project which is voted on. So like the first thing we will give as a proposal is something called the Ethereum computer, not part of this discussion today, but if they vote on it, they will give it an initial one-time funding, an adjustable daily payment, and the ability to fire us. It's all written in the smart contract. This is how we interact. It's also how people can trust us in a way, because if we don't do a good work, they can fire us, we don't get money anymore. That's basically how you control us. The DO has all the power because it controls the funds. That's the most important part. Yeah.
Are rewards time-based? Like say for example, I have 100 tokens.
Mm-hmm.
You issue a reward at time t, and then another reward at time t plus 1. If those tokens move between those two rewards, is it the owner of the token at the time of the reward that is eligible for the reward?
So we have 4 exchanges. I need to show you this still, and a special transfer function that first always pays out the remaining reward.
So when you move a token,
so that
it
means
pays
the
out.
token has always no reward left because it's already paid out to the owner. It's automatically done if you use this function, so that you know all the tokens moved have no rewards behind them anymore. But actually, you can always call this get my reward function to get the rewards continually. Like after the first one, after the second. If you do it too often, you get 0 because you already have paid out your reward.
Right.
So there is this get my reward function, but I have implemented a transfer without reward function, saying if you use this one, if you first call get my reward and then transfer, basically giving the reward back to the owner before the token gets transferred.
So it makes our lives a little difficult. Like, are rewards mandatory? Like, can you opt out of them? Can we give them to the eventual owner of the token? Does that mean like different tokens will have different reward values?
No, every token has his share of rewards, always. But what you do as an exchange, don't think about it. Just use this transfer without reward function. Don't care about it.
Well, then we get all the rewards.
No, they get the owners of the
I am
owners
the
of
owner. I'm the owner of
Then
every
don't
token.
use it. Then use transfer. That's actually a problem, kind of, because
It's a huge problem.
those tokens have the rewards bound to them.
Yeah.
And you can always get them. And you should, let's say we have thousands of slocks out there, and you have every minute a tiny little reward added to this reward account, and it kind of,
So the problem is that a token has a different value based on how much of the reward it's claimed and how much the reward, so 2 tokens are not equal.
no, that's correct. And then they don't have call the get my
That
reward
hurts my
function.
brain.
But I see your problem completely. Like that's why I think people, before they give tokens to an exchange, they should get their rewards, and then yes, that those tokens on the exchange are based like that was the last time when they retrieved the reward.
So
And they
token
better
is
do.
almost meaningless at that point.
So the
Well,
best
no,
thing
because
you
it's
can
like
do-
a
Future.
It's like
best
it's like
thing you can do
a.
is to get technically illiterate people, which is the majority of people.
It's like
invest in those tokens. I would trade them for you.
It's a hen that lays golden eggs, and if right, and you just wait till 5, you get some eggs, and then you
I
give
have
the
no
chicken
interest
away.
in claiming that. That just gets us in trouble.
But yes,
So
that's the only way we could do it. Like the token owners are the only one we could give rewards to.
Right.
That's just how it is. Yeah.
If you use the approve function though, then,
Good.
Also,
yeah,
Yes.
but I
if you're
understand.
running a centralized off-chain exchange, then like the whole concept of your business model is based on trust. So if I'm gonna give you my tokens, and then they sit in the exchange for however long of time, like as long as you keep track of the ones that I specifically gave you, I would trust you to just give me the reward when I trade them.
Yeah, but there's,
logistics problems.
yeah.
I mean, it's not easy. It's just like it's
Yeah,
just
how-
the nature of what you
for
have
you,
to
it
do.
would mean that
Exactly.
you, before you actually transfer the tokens of your users, that you get the reward and give it to them.
Yeah,
Easy.
exactly.
That's what
If
you
didn't,
needed
then
to
I
do.
wouldn't use your exchange.
But then as for you, the harder problem is to keep track of all of this. And
Mhm.
I know you don't like to do this. I understand this. Yeah. So, okay, are there any questions about this DAO model? I mean, it's the first of its kind. It's really a big experiment. But we have.
Did you get so? This is a problem that humanity have been hell bent on solving for last at least 200 years since first experiments in Holland. Did anyone with experience in corporate law take a look at this into this? Because I'm sure there might be a corner which is obvious for experts in corporate law, and we would like never.
This is considered, so our lawyers have taken a pass at some things like this. This is considered a security. So you could not buy and sell it unless you are a licensed
We
security
have
broker.
lawyers actually in different places looking at exit.
This is for the US.
I'm also, I don't care absolutely about the laws of the US. I care about that. Is this as a voluntary contract? There might be like obvious problems that wouldn't work. You see?
So,
What?
so we have read what we can about it, but also think about we do not want to replicate exactly everything is out there because it gets too complicated. And if you line I add here, it's 10 more problems. That's a problem. And then you have to fix 10 more problems and they create 100 more problems. That's why this is trying to make the most simple approach which still fulfills all the criteria needed to be a meaningful DO. And so, but also we are working on a DO 2.0, how I call it. Like we can still evolve. And this is now an important part. How can this DO update its contract? Like in Ethereum, we cannot change the contract. But here what you can do is, we can make a completely new one with tons of other new features, which we have proven, and they can make a proposal to send all their funds to the new DO. And if this gets through, then the old DO don't have any money left, and the new DO has the money and they can go on. So there is a possibility by voting to kind of update the contract because they just do the new ones. So for us it's now only important that this one is secure, works as expected, and is a minimal viable product, so to say, without adding any features which are not absolutely needed. Yeah.
So currently this has the default service provider says to you what's the process look like for if I want to be a service provider for say like arbitration dispute resolution for a DAO? Is there an ability to add on services in this
Yes,
area?
this is this whitelist. So you would ask us,
Okay.
and you could come to the community, and if you see the community actually wants to fund something you're doing, and you can look at it if it's good or not. If it's good, we can add you to this whitelist so they can make a proposal to send some money to you. And if they still want to follow me, we don't set you on the list, then you just split.
Cool. Yeah.
Other questions?
So these tokens, are they like managed inside your Ethereum wallet, like Mist?
Yes.
So if I have a Jax installed and I have a couple of these
I have to
Slock.
see- I have to look at checks if they are supporting
They
the
have
tokens.
promised. They have publicly promised to us supporting a little bit.
Oh, they
Just recently.
okay.
So there will be.
So-
They did, right?
So then you can just go up to anybody and just give them some Slockit token like any other crypto,
Like any other coin. Yeah.
except it lays eggs for you.
Except
That's a
the approve and the transfer without reward, which is really. I see why you not had exist for
Well,
5 minutes. Yeah, it is very it becomes.
That's why we can't talk to Christoph today.
It's like you might be setting yourself for immediate failure by making them not tradable on existing infrastructure, which any person who would be willing to risk serious money, like let's say $100,000, I would not risk $100,000 if the token wouldn't be tradable on existing
So, well, they are tradable by definition. It depends, of course, if the existing exchange is supported or not. For me, it's a matter of time. Like they are incentivized to support it. If they are not interested in trading it, then they're incentivized to do so. If there's not interest in trading them, of course, then they're not incentivized to do it. I mean, it's an open market, but you can still exchange them just with, in the future, hopefully with a smartphone or just with a laptop. So you can still do it locally, peer-to-peer.
He makes a valid point, we're here.
Yes. Just take one question on this one.
Do proposals get executed the minute they receive enough votes, or is there any type of?
When you call this execute proposal function, it just tallies the vote. But it checks, is the voting deadline over? Is it voted for? It does all the checks, and then it gets executed.
It has in the contract.
The moment that the deadline is passed and enough votes have been met, assuming I'm an apathetic voter and don't care, like there is no chance of me finding out that both the proposal passed and the money is going to move in a little bit. It's like as soon as the proposal passes, the money moves. So I really, as a potentially apathetic voter, I can't be apathetic because I have to watch every proposal and see, is it going to pass? Is it going to pass soon? I feel like having a built-in waiting time, like, okay, the proposal passed at 24 hours or like 2
But
days.
what does it change?
Because then the news gets out, like, it passed, everybody. This is a horrible idea, and it passed. Like, I can write a blog post and
But
tell
after the
everybody.
voting deadline, you can't do anything anymore.
So yeah, you would do all of that before.
But I didn't
execution
vote.
time.
I can unload my tokens because I didn't vote.
But yeah, you need to think about this earlier. Therefore, yes, the point is if you're completely, like, do you know the money goes to us, to your service provider, which you have chosen?
Yes.
So therefore, if we advise you to be not a apathetic, you should be active. But one thing is, if you're not active, then you know there will be some proposals passing to us.
Yeah.
That's all you know. But if you don't want this, then you have to look for a proposal. You only have this delaying period to vote for it. That's all you have.
Okay, we've got time for one more question, and we're gonna have to wrap up.
Okay.
They're gonna kick us out of here.
Who has not asked a question yet? Who wants to
No,
ask a
go.
question?
So I have a question, is there like a feature of a service provider being able to log the tokens because they similar like service provider which does the service on behalf basically the tokens, right? Or the shareholders, is there a way to log the tokens so that they are not moved to another network? Say like if you're like doing something on a Kickstarter and you need money, so you need to buy an equipment, and then there is like a bad report and a blog post that your product, for example, is not good, and everybody pulls the money, and you essentially your project
They don't
fails.
mine these tokens.
Hmm?
So those tokens are not mined. Like they're on the Ethereum network.
Yeah,
So
I
they would need
understand.
to shut the Ethereum network down for this to shut down.
Well, no. I'm saying that all these voters will pull out the tokens, and the service provider cannot do that. So what I'm saying is that
What they
very
would do, they would
easily
split
to.
the DO. They would just move their money out.
Yeah, that's the problem. So that the service provider has no guarantee that the money will not be moved at any moment in time. How is
Not
it
completely.
gonna do that?
This is this smart contract. Then, like, for the DO, this smart contract will keep all the money. Basically, as an example, let's say that this DO makes $1 million. Then they give 500,000